Yeah, welcome to the second gen and youth Hua Chen Ren. Okay, welcome to the second gen and youth breakout room. Yeah, so I can see that many of our brothers and sisters are still coming in. So let's just wait for a bit more. Kaito, I can see you. Kaito, how are you? Yeah, hello. Konbanwa.
こんばんは。
Nice to
はい。
see you, Kaito. Yeah.
お久しぶり
Wow,
です。
we have so many brothers and sisters here. Yes, our Kenopa is here with us already. Okay, let me look for Yie Sun Onni. Yeah, Yie Sun Onni, are you here also? Yes, yes. Onni is also here. Yeah, so I guess we can wait maybe for 1 minute more as we still have our brothers and sisters coming in into this breakout room. Yeah. So how are you, my brothers and sisters? How was the session just now?
Great.
Great.
Very amazing.
Jaya, you liked it? Yeah, it was amazing, right? Yeah, so I guess most of the brothers and sisters are already here. Yeah, so so for this session, I'm not going to be the MC for this session, but we have, just like what Brother Namhi has told us, we will have two second gen facilitators for this session. So we will have our very lovely sister and also daughter-in-law of Malaysia. Yeah, so we have Sister Jia Yue from Singapore as our facilitator. Okay, let's say hi to Sister Jia Yue.
Hello, everyone.
I can see May shouting to you. Woo, Jia Yue!
Hello, all my brothers and sisters. Nice to see all of you.
Yeah, you have a lot of fans. Yeah. Okay, and then other than Sister Jia Yue, we also have representative from our brother to help facilitate this session. So we have our very handsome, our very intelligent brother Henry from Hong Kong. Let's welcome brother Henry.
Hello everyone.
Hello. Yeah, so I believe that our facilitators are ready. Yeah, so let's not wait for more. Okay, I'll now pass on to my beloved, my fellow facilitators.
Hello everyone. So I will be the facilitator. So I just want to tell you once more, like we will offer 4 languages for like translation. First is Japanese, and second Chinese, and we have Thai, and also we have Indonesian. But like in the interpretation, that part it says as Javanese. So the ones who will listen to Indonesian can click the Javanese.
インドネシア語をお聞きになりたい方は Javanese.
So without further ado, I will start tonight's like our breakout section. So good evening, all my brothers and sisters. Welcome to join our breakout session for the youth and second gen. I will first introduce myself. I am Henry, and I am second gen from Hong Kong. It's so happy to meet you all, and also I'm very proud to really welcome so many second gens from all around the world. I heard like this time you have like 21 from 21 country. So I'm so proud everyone could join.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm Jia Yue and I'm 22 years old this year. I'm a second generation from Singapore, and it's really very nice to see all of you here tonight. Thank you for joining this Zoom meeting. So in this breakout session, our brother Henry and I will be your facilitators and MC for tonight. And we are also very honored to have our 2 elder second gen couples whom we have already met just now, Mr. Ken Schmittat and Mrs. Yie Sun Yashiro, to share with us tonight.
Yes, and many of our participants are so excited to hear personal experience and guidance from both Mr. Ken Schmittat and Mrs. Yie Sun Yashiro. Because of this, we received so many questions. in this section, I will be asking your questions to our brother Kent, and Sister Jaya will be asking questions to Sister Yie Sun.
Yes, so with our Q&A session starting now, so if you have any questions that you would like to ask during the session, but were not submitted in the sign-up form, you are free to ask them in the chat box below. We'll do our very best to ask and answer all of your questions if possible, but we wish to also apologize in advance if due to lack of time, we are not able to do so. So as such, please be reminded to only ask questions that you feel are genuinely important.
And during the Q&A section, I encourage everyone to turn on your video cam, and we can hope you can show your reactions and actively support our speaker too, by also using the reaction sticker below.
Yes, so please take note to stay throughout this Zoom meeting until the end of the web panel sharing today, as we'll be having the closing for tonight's program over here, separately from our parents. So please do not go back to the previous Zoom meeting.
In addition, please note that this is a youth section, and if you are a parent and you are in this section, please leave this meeting and join back the Zoom meeting in the link which you have received in your email without email. Without further ado, we will start now to begin our Q&A section. So actually, we received like so many questions. So we today. So we divided to 3 categories. Same as Samanim said, like it's important in life to achieve the 3 blessings. So we also divided the section in according to the 3 blessings. So first, we will ask about like the first blessing, more on life of faith. So first, I would like to ask Brother Kent, like one participant is curious, like when is the happiest moment you had in your life of faith?
So happiest moment of my life of faith.
Yeah.
That's a very hard but very easy question as well. Every day.
Every day.
Wow, the answer is really so much shorter than we expect.
Yep.
No special moments or memories you want to share with us?
Every day. It's hard. How can you choose a special moment? Okay, when every moment that you spend with someone that makes you happy is such a nice moment, right? And I can't just choose one family member. Then again, there isn't a time when I have had everyone in the family all together, and with my youngest boy, only 15 years old. So it's very hard to choose one special moment. My philosophy, and this is my personal philosophy, nothing to parents said, is that you should never live with regret, right? And so just always try and, what's the right word? Cherish. Always try and cherish each single day as much as you can. And I try and live with that kind of a positive way of thinking. That's it.
Yes, I really hope all our brothers and sisters can learn from our elder brother Ken over here. I really like your philosophy about, like every single day to live happily and to really cherish every single moment. So I guess that's your answer, right? Every day. Yeah, so I hope everyone can also like live every moment like this, like Brother Ken here. And the next question I want to ask to our Sister Yie Sun. So Sister Yie Sun, when you are facing any difficulties or obstacles, what is your attitude and how does Heavenly Parent work through you to overcome it?
Good question.
Should I repeat?
Way of managing my emotions. I get really sad easily, and I get really depressed easily. Yeah, but what I do is I try to quickly find the solution to the difficulty or the problem that I am facing, or better, I look for the good side of each experience, or I look for the good side of each situation. So that's how I overcome it. In worst cases, and I cannot resolve it, I cannot have answer to my problem, then I just think that this too shall pass. It's not going to be forever. Yeah.
So thank you, Sister Yie Sun. So actually, it's very important to stay positive, and while we are in difficulties and having obstacles, and yeah. And now to the next question. Actually, this is like the meat. We have received so many questions that actually, according to the blessing and matching on second blessing. So I would like to ask Brother Kent, when you first received your match, what did you do to break the ice at the and start communication with your spouse? How was your experience when you meet each other in person for the first time? Do you have any advice for the first meeting, like some do's and don'ts?
Yeah, you probably don't want advice from me. I did not have I did not give a very good first impression to my wife. And so really it should be my wife that you want to ask this question to. Look, back when I got blessed, this is 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We started with emails, okay, and then we moved to Skype, and then we moved to Kakao Talk. So you can see the times change in terms of communication. By the time you guys get blessed, you might start with, I don't know, WhatsApp or some other line or whatever other messenger or Facebook or whatever you use. Look, it's different for everyone, right? I don't think that there is a one way fits all. Obviously, the more sensible you are towards, as a guy, towards a girl's emotion, the better for you. But, you know, we don't get much practice. And I don't see you being able to get any practice. So try your best and good luck, because there's a lot of mistakes that you're going to make. There's a lot of mistakes that I made. And yeah, you just got to, you know, learn from your mistakes. Just try not to repeat the same one.
Brother Ken,
Look, I can't guarantee you'll find a good way, but I can guarantee that you will make mistakes. So you should better accept that fact.
Are there any like personal experiences with your spouse, like in terms of maybe your first communication, the kind of feeling you had, and how you reached out to her, how you made effort in your relationship? Maybe you can share a bit more with us about that.
Yeah, okay. So for me, I was very happy to receive the blessing, right? And so I wouldn't say right after the blessing. For us, really, communication started after the matching, right? So not after the blessing. The matching was 5 months before the blessing. So within that 5 months, we've already had plenty of give and take in terms of communication. But when the matching first started, that's really, you know, when we first communicate with each other. It was very short. Like I'd send an email with maybe 3 or 4 questions, and I talk a little bit about myself. Actually, I talk a lot about myself. Don't know if that's good or bad, so don't take my word for it. I asked a couple of questions and talked about myself because, you know, I wanted her to know what I was like, how I grew up. I wanted to know that about her as well. And, you know, you're really just starting to get to know each other. So you really got to start with all of those basic questions, you know? What do you like to eat? What's your favorite food? What is your favorite color? I don't know. And just about my upbringing, what it was like growing up in Cambodia, etc. So look, I was no master at communication. Don't is, it's so hard to point out as well, because, you know, some girls would like this, some girls don't like that. Best advice, okay, if you're ever in doubt, if you're ever in an argument, you're ever in doubt, just follow the why. That's it.
Aju. Thank you so much, Brother Ken, for your sharing. So I believe many of our second gens and youths here maybe will soon or already have experienced this. So I think, yeah, I guess everyone's experience is really different, but thanks for sharing your own experience with us. And next I want to ask to Sister Yie Sun. So what kind of condition did you and your spouse offer before receiving the blessing?
What did we do? Condition. We did a lot of waiting, looking, bowing.
And then we went to the Champion.
Oh yeah, we went to Champion. He went for 40 days. That was how I started to accept him.
Yeah.
because like I was focused on like rejecting the match because like I'm struggling with this person.
What?
야, 사실이야, 사실. 솔직히 말하니까.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was focused on like I don't want this person in my life. But then, you know, he showed a lot of effort towards his relationship with God and towards the blessing. So I was really moved by that effort and getting to know him. You know, I was like digging into the treasures, hidden treasures of Naokuni Yashiro. So I could really see his like artistic, you know, relationship with his parents, especially to his mom,
Mhm.
who is in the spiritual world. Like he would always remember how his mother guided his life, even though she's not physically here. So I was like really touched with that, and so we would offer prayers. We would offer a lot of conditions together.
음.
Yeah, before for the blessing.
같이 이야기하고 받으면 또
Yeah,
좋겠어요.
we had a lot of conversations together that we want to make this decision together if you want to push through together. So we had that kind of communication
음.
from the parents matching. Yeah.
Thank you, Sister Yie Sun, and for sharing this. And it really shows like during the process, going to blessing, this conditions really important and shows that really this does improve the relationship. And now I want to go to the next question. I want to ask to Brother Kent. Like a participant asked, like, I sense that my spouse feel uneasy to share her heart. Did you face similar situation before? And how do you think I can help her? How should we overcome this together?
Yes, very good question. Yes, I did have a very similar experience actually. So as I mentioned, I was quite happy with the matching and with the blessing. My spouse, however, so Yie Sun, she struggled a little bit, right? Now it's normal for people to struggle. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. But because she struggled, right? For her, it was very difficult to open up to me, okay? And when someone is struggling in the blessing, basically, obviously they're going through their own things. What worked for me in our case specifically was I gave her space and I gave her time. And I let her know that I'm happy to wait for her. So this is after the matching. She didn't want to go receive the blessing straight away. I said, look, I'm happy to wait. It doesn't matter for me. I'm happy to wait however long you want or need, okay? So in hindsight, I would say that was a very good thing to do. Tap my own shoulder. Good job, Ken. Because that was exactly what she needed. That was exactly what she needed. Now, you know, I was no master or guru at this relationship, but I just, you know, I said, look, it's okay. I'll give you time. That was exactly what she needed, is a little bit more space and a little bit more time. Now, that worked very well in my case. I can't say that that exact same thing is going to work in your case, right? Or depending on what is the reason behind their struggle, it can be different. Many times though, if they're struggling to accept you, sometimes they need a little bit more time and a little bit more space, especially if it's the girl that's struggling. But that's not the only, you know, remedy to this. Sometimes they're struggling with their relationship with God. Sometimes they're struggling with their relationship with their parents. Sometimes it's not time that you need. Sometimes it's help that they need. Sometimes it's support that they need. Sometimes it's someone who can listen to their struggles and not judge them, right? So it really does depend on each person as well. Obviously, what you want to do is you want to try and find out, what can I do for her, or what can I do for him, right? And sometimes it can be as simple as asking that question. Okay, what can I do for you? What do you need? How can I help you? Sometimes you just got to ask. If you don't ask, you might never find out. You might never know. So sometimes it can be as simple as that, and they'll tell you exactly what it is they need. Sometimes they'll tell you, I need time. Sometimes they'll tell you, look, I just, sometimes they might be feeling upset and they just want to share. They just want someone to be able to hear their opinions. Sometimes it can be deeper and harder issues, which, to be honest, you might not be able to tackle at that time. The important thing to note, though, whenever someone or whenever one or even both people in a blessing is struggling, is that no match, no blessing can move forward with only one person putting in the effort. The effort has to go from both sides, right? And it has to go both ways. And what kind of effort it is can differ. Like, it's always obviously good to create some kind of spiritual foundation to move forward together. And it's important to talk about it together as well. You have to open up, you have to try and communicate with each other. Oftentimes, that's where the difficulty lies, right? Whether they're not wanting to communicate with you. Sometimes you need to give them space. Sometimes you need to pry it out of them. Sometimes it's because they're shy, or like you actually need to keep digging deeper. You got to keep on asking, right? So it kind of depends on the situation, on the person, on what they're struggling with. So I can't really give one answer that would fit all. But what doesn't change is both of you will have to put the effort in together, and both of you need to be aware that you
そ
both
の努力を費やしたいことですね。
even if that is the only thing that you can talk about with each other, you might not be able to talk about what the problem is. She or he might not want to share about it to you. That's okay. As long as both of you are talking, that both of you want to make this matching work. Both of you want this matching to be centered on God and true parents. And both of you want to be able to overcome each other's difficulties together. Even if that is the only thing that you talk about, that is all you
Jadi
may
hal yang perlu itu adalah.
Thank you so much. I personally feel I learned a lot also. And as a sister, I think really the kind of patience and understanding is really so important. And yeah, I really hope also this brother or sister who shared this question receive good inspiration. Yes, and the next question I want to ask to our sister Yie Sun. So, within couples, it's very common that there are good days and there are bad days, right? So when your couple faces any arguments or disagreements, how do you resolve it in your relationship?
That's a very hard question. How? Tell me. 教えてよ. When we started family, we didn't really had a lot of arguments because I don't know, we didn't really had a lot of arguments. And then when I got pregnant, that's when we started to have more arguments because I wanted something different for the baby, and then he wanted something different for the baby. We have like different kind of parenting styles. I grew up from strict parents. He grew up from, do whatever you like kind of parents. So, those kind of parenting things clashes, and it's hard to compromise. But what we do is that whenever we're angry to each other, we try to cool down and don't, it's inevitable to hurt each other, but what you can do is that you should acknowledge that you hurt each other and say sorry to each other that you hurt each other's feelings, and to forgive. I forgive and complete that you forgive. That's what True Father has always been teaching us, and that's key to marriage. Forgive and forget that you give. Because you'll forgive 1,000, 10,000 times, and you have to forget that you forgive. And you have to forget that you give love, and you give effort and give everything for your spouse. And always put God as the center. Don't put yourself as the center in the relationship. Once you become the subject in the relationship, you lose yourself and you lose your spouse, you lose your way. So yeah, always put God as a center. Make sure that you are always aligned. This blessing is not only for me, but for my spouse, for God and through parents and for my family.
Thank you, Yie Sun, for giving this great answer. I felt for now, maybe many people in blessing matching process still wouldn't have argument yet. I heard like from my committee, the young couples, they always have argument after when they have babies. And I hope like during that time can really remember what Sister Yie Sun just said, forgive, and also putting God in the center of the relationship. So next, I would like to also ask Brother Kent, like, is there any tips to share how to find a balance in managing a public responsibility, family life, like couple relationship and parenting, and finance?
And finance. Okay, you talk about finance, you gotta give me an hour. Okay, so wait, can you repeat the question? So,
sorry.
Family life?
Balance public responsibility, family life, and finance. So now you're in the front line and you're serving your community. So,
well, I wouldn't say I'm in the front line. So I am working full time. I am, I guess, raising kids at the same time, and I'm helping at church on Sundays and on Fridays, and that's pretty much about it, right? How do I balance it? Okay, so firstly, I'll start with the finance because that's easier to kind of explain. Finance is something that you would have to manage automatically. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? It doesn't matter if you're working full time. Doesn't matter if you're, church member full time. It doesn't matter if you're in the front line full time. One way or other, you have to manage your finances. You have to be able to manage your family's food on the table. You have to be able to have a shelter for your family, right? So it doesn't matter what you do. You always have to manage your finance. With managing finances now, unfortunately, this is not something that many people are great at, particularly because it's not really something that's taught to us. And if it is taught, it's not taught very well or very clearly. When it comes to managing finance, I like talking about finances. I like talking about money. That's kind of my field of interest, right? I like managing money. I can tell you how I set up my bank accounts. I've got 4 different bank accounts in the one bank, but I don't only have one bank, I have several banks actually, but because they all suit a specific, very specific purpose for me. One's specifically only for investments. Another one is specifically only for safekeeping money, as in money for like an emergency, like big life emergency that you don't expect. And another bank is for everyday expenses, everyday whatever. And it'll take a bit of time if I start going into the details of how I divide my money up as well, because I've got different percentages that I use, right? I don't just have one pot of money that I use for everything. I actually split it up 60% here, 20% there, 10% there, 10% there. So I actually like managing my money. And for me, that way managing finances works no matter what I'm doing or what I will be doing, right? So managing finance is something that you should always be doing together. It should never be a different thing. I'm not going to go too much more into finance because once I get started, I don't stop. Now, managing finance, managing, you say parenting, and one more is like mission,
public responsibility and family life.
Yeah, family life. So look, family life, you really want to focus, right, on living for the sake of your family as well, right? This is an expansion. When you first get matched, when you first get blessed, you have to learn, I gotta start reading these comments. You gotta learn to live for the sake of your partner, for the sake of your spouse. Once you start having family, it's obviously it's the same. You still gotta love your wife, you still gotta love your husband, and I can't stop commenting. And we still gotta love our children as well. How do you manage them? Like it's like you manage everything. You have it works differently for each family. You got to find a way that works for you. In my case, okay, I'll talk about what a day-to-day life looks like for me. We wake up in the morning. Now, because Chihon wakes up at 6 o'clock as well. Oh my God, he's ready for Ndoke, right? Either what we do is one of us joins Hundoke and the other one kind of looks after him and feeds him in the morning. And we kind of go around, like we switch every now and then. And then right after Hundoke, I eat breakfast and then I take a shower, I get ready to go to work, I go to work, right? And then I come back at around 5:36 p.m. When I come back, I just take care of Chihuan up until dinner time. I eat, then I bathe Chihuan, put him to sleep. And then we've got like an hour to 2 hours of our parent free time where Chihuan's asleep and we finally have some time for ourselves, right? What I do within that 1 to 2 hours is kind of up to us. Sometimes I'll watch a movie together with my wife. Sometimes I'll read a book. Sometimes I'll play a game, etc. But I got to make sure that whatever time I do have at home, because it's so limited, I only have the time in the morning and I only have the time in the evening. For me, it's important I take care of Chihuan during that time for several reasons. One, I got to give Chi-san some time to rest, right? I got to let her have some me time as well. Everyone is going to need me time. So you want to make sure, as in, you just need time off sometimes. You just need a bit of time to rest, especially when you become a parent. You just need a little bit of relaxing time because the baby's going to be with you 24/7. So you got to find a way to make it work within each couple. And for me, it's just whenever I am at home, it's to make sure that I'm taking care of Chihuan so that I can try and give Chi-san a little bit of time to rest or free time for her. And then when it comes to doing, let's say, frontline or church work or church activity, that is also something that we obviously prioritize. Now, just because I'm saying I want to take care of Chihuan the whole time doesn't mean that I'm not going to go to church, right? So Sundays is still going to be Sunday service. We still go to, well, not always we, but I still go to church on Sundays, and I try to go every Sunday. And then every Friday, we're at the moment running like a DP study session with some of the BC kids here, and that's going very well. And so that kind of time is something that I cherish. I like doing those kind of study sessions with the BCs here. It gives me spiritual energy because really the only time that I'm actually living for someone else other than within my family is during this time that I can go to church. Technically, you can say at work as well, but like it doesn't really count. So I cherish that time, and I cherish it. Chi-san cherishes it as well. Even though she's not there, she actually cherishes the fact that I go and I'm contributing something. I'm doing something for other BCs. I'm doing something for God's sake. And so we find that time important. In fact, if I don't do anything, then she says that we need to do something, right? So whether it's once a year, twice a year, whether it's doing a lecture at a workshop, whether it's helping at a workshop, for us at the beginning of the year, we kind of look at, okay, what do we want to achieve in this year? What are our goals in terms of finance, in terms of health, in terms of spirituality, relationship with God, in terms of work? Like we actually kind of split them up and look at what are some of the goals that we want to do, or what are some of the things we want to do in this year. And then we break it down into size, like chunks that we can do, that's achievable. We can't do everything. We can't do all at once. And after we break them down, we just try and, and put that into our daily life. And that's kind of how we structure it is, okay, at the end of the year, let's say if we have a workshop at the end of the year, then we make sure, number one, that we can take time off of work at the end of the year and really contribute that time for a workshop or whatever. And then if we can do one in the middle of the year, like a summer workshop or so, then if it's a couple of days here and there, then again, we make sure that whenever that workshop is, that we're able or I'm able to go and help. And so that's something that not just I prioritize, but we prioritize together. And back to actually just a little bit more about finance, you have to talk about money. You have to talk with each other. You can't let one person run the finances. You can let one person lead it and do everything, but both of you have to be on the same page. You have to know, both of you have to know how your money is coming in and how it's going out. How are you managing it? Like how are you, if you're budgeting, how are you budgeting it, right? You have to talk together. An Australian book says that one of the biggest things that couples fight about is money. And that's because it's not talked about. It's not clear. You got to talk with each other and see how you're going to manage that. You can't expect the man to do everything, or you can't expect the woman to manage all of the finances. You can't. The man can't just, okay, I'm going to go to work and I'll leave all of my finances to the wife to sort because she's going to do all of the grocery shopping. You can't just, push it all to one person. It has to be done together. which is really such a natural thing. If you think about it, couples do things together. It's duh, of course you do it together, but so many people don't. They don't even talk about it properly. Like, come on. So all of these things, right, they're not really separate. How do you manage them? You just manage your time together in the day. It's like life of faith, right? How do you manage your life of faith? Life of faith and living is not separate. They're the same thing. You don't separate life of faith and living. Even if you're at work, doesn't mean that all of a sudden you stop believing in God. Doesn't mean that you're making decisions without God, because if you are, then you shouldn't. Really, living and life of faith is the same thing. So any moment in the day is part of your life of faith. And in the same way, like managing your finances, this is all part of daily life. Like, how do you manage them? It's good if you can structure it. I personally recommend reading finance books, like self-help guides. They're very good. If that is part of your interest, that I've got quite a number of books I can recommend to you, but that's for like another talk altogether. If you're struggling because of it, then definitely I recommend you read something to get a little bit of help. If you're not really struggling, then I don't know why you posted this question. All right, I might stop there.
Thank you so much, Brother Ken. I think the key point that I caught was really the time management. And I like how you really shared about, you know, how like even public responsibilities is something that bring your couple joy also. So you want to cherish this time they can live for the sake of others. And also, I guess, communication, right, between the couple. Yeah, so I really hope that we can have a one-on-one session with you on finance. Many of our brothers and sisters are asking for that. All right, so to move on, this next question is really interesting. It's to Sister Yie Sun. So I understand, Sister Yie Sun, that you are staying with your parents-in-law and as a 3-generation family now in Japan. So I would like to ask if you have any tips for staying together with your parents-in-law.
I think don't start the relationship with your parents-in-law when you live together with them, but start your relationship with your parents-in-law when you're officially engaged already. You know, not only your parents-in-law, but your family-in-law, your brother, your sister-in-law, because that's when you're sure that you're going to be married to this person. You're going to receive the blessing with this person. And you're not receiving the blessing only with this person, but you know, you're marrying his family, you're marrying her family. So it's important to make that relationship, that foundation, before you start the family together. So if you have that good foundation already, before you move in together, living together with your family, your living together with your family-in-law would be much easier because you have that relationship already. So it's gonna be more natural than when you start just having relationship, you know, asking about their interests, asking about like what kind of people they are. When you start family, it's just like, you know, like awkward. Yeah. So I think, yeah, having the mindset of thinking that you're also marrying their family.
That's so true. Now, I think this also is very good for brother and sister preparing for going to blessing. Also need to also reach out to their parents and more to their also brother and sister, and we will help like later on, maybe even staying with parents-in-law, or even later on building like a big family living nearby. So next question I want to ask Brother Kent, like how will a couple know if they are ready to have children? What were your thoughts at the moment you realize that you will become a parent? Do you have like this kind of thoughts? And do you have a certain period you feel I'm ready to become a parent?
So in my case, I guess I kind of always wanted to have children. Specifically, I want 4 or 5. So I kind of have an idea on having kids. And look, my older brother, he's 2 years older than me, right? And he's I think his oldest son is already 4 to 5, maybe even 6 now. So he's definitely had kids at a younger age than when we've had ours. And so because my older brother always had kids a bit early, I guess for me, I kind of, or my mind kind of followed suit in that, oh, I want to have kids and I should have kids now too. And so I always kind of had the desire to have kids early. Like I didn't have like a specific time that came to me like, oh, I need to have kids. It's not like we have something that goes off in our head saying time for have kids. But I guess it's just a desire as well. You gotta realize I've been blessed for 10 years, right? So we've had plenty of time from 18 in my case. I was 18, Yie Sun was 17. We had plenty of time to kind of grow and develop our relationship just between the two of us. And so, you know, having kids seemed like a very natural next step for our couple, right? Now, obviously, it depends on each couple as well. If you get blessed when you're quite old already, maybe having kids is something that you want to think about a little bit sooner, instead of waiting 7, 8 years, because maybe you might be a little bit old by the time you have your first son or daughter. So it does depend. It's different for each couple as well. In terms of like an ideal, like if I was being idealistic, right? The way that I would like to think about having kids is that it's just the same as the blessing. It's that ideally God will give you children when it's time for you to have kids. But you know, things don't always go as easily as that. So look, you really got to talk between each partner, like your spouse, in regards to having kids. That's really the only way to move forward. Obviously, you want to try and prepare yourself, your heart to have kids, but that also comes with your own growth and your own maturity.
How about like when the moments you realize that you become a parent, do you have like special feeling at that time that you want to share?
So I think for my wife, like it dawned on her a lot quicker than it did on me. It didn't really dawn on me that I've become a father until he was actually born. Like 10 months of pregnancy didn't, like, yes, I kind of knew I was going to become a father, but I didn't really feel it until after he was born, until I could hold him in my hands. For me, it's really when I could, not just see him, but when I could actually hold him and then look him in the eye, not just look him in the eye laying on the bed, but when I could actually hold him, that's when it really, like, I could really feel more of a connection with my son. And that's kind of when it dawned on me, like, oh my God, I'm a father. And, you know, I think, I don't know, I guess each person's experience can be different as well, but yeah, that was kind of a really happy as well as kind of like a moving moment for me when I realized that I had become a father. I guess I didn't know that I wanted to be a father so badly, because when I held him, I was so happy that I was a father. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine that kind of overwhelming feeling for you, Brother Ken, and also I believe Sister Yie Sun as well. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. And yeah, due to some time constraints also, I think we'll skip through some of the questions and we'll move on to the third blessing, some questions under there. So this question for Sister Yie Sun. Despite starting a challenging new phase of your life as a parent, what is the motivation that keeps you going in your public roles and responsibilities?
Yeah, good question. I think right now, being a new mom, it's really hard to, balance time with everything. Work, being a mom, house chores, and stuff like that. So it makes me think, should I just, focus on one thing only so I can be good at it? But what really makes me stay in working for the church is that I want to make a good environment for my son. I want to make a good environment for my children. So I want to make it with the people I believe that I can make this kind of environment with, and that's with you guys, and that's with, you know, the Heavenly Parents community. I think that's how we, you know, when we work internally in our church and make a good environment in our church, then it's easy for us to witness to other people or to our friends outside, and we can, you know, teach our faith, teach our principle to them. So yeah, so that's what I think.
Grateful for Sister Yie Sun for sharing. I'm sure also many of our brothers and sisters here are very grateful for having such a model in the front line. And actually, this will, because of time restraint, this will be our last question for this section. I will ask Brother Kent, like, how do you take care of younger sister who look up to you and relate you as a artistic able while keeping the boundaries? So you have been also taking care of your community. So do you have any like tips or for us, or maybe tips for us?
Okay, so when you say by keeping your boundary, I'm going to assume that you mean not to become so close as to then have a man woman, right?
Yeah.
How would I? Well, I don't know, naturally. Okay, so if for there to be a problem, right? So let's say that there's a young sister who, what was the wording you used, looks up to me, right? And let's say for there to be a problem, firstly, I would have to have some kind of feelings for her. Now, personally, that's not going to happen for me. I just know it's I only have eyes for one person. Aha. So I don't worry in that regards, right? But let's say that there is someone who maybe has fallen for me. As if that will happen. So if there's a sister who likes me, right, and who despite knowing that I've been a blessed match and have a child, she still likes me and, you know, I don't know, wants to run away from church and be with me. Firstly, I've never had that kind of experience. I can't really say from experience, but I would assume that what I would do is one of two things. One, I would confront her, but not one-on-one. I would confront her and tell her, possibly with a church leader or with someone else, maybe with her parents even, right? I would never create a situation where it's just between me and her and it's private and it's secret, just between her. Worst way of approaching it is, in my opinion, the best way of approaching it is always to make it public. Because once it's public, Satan can't really quite interfere. But if it's private, then Satan will find a way to come in and manipulate one or both people, right? So the best way, I think, is to straight away make it public, not just between one-on-one. Now, if that fails, I don't think it would, but if that fails, I would try and distance myself from that person. It would be sad, especially if we have a good relationship, and I thought if I would think of her as a young sister, that would be a sad thing to do. But the priority is always not the relationship. Priority is always how can we maintain our purity. That's always comes as first priority. Right now, I don't think that it would ever happen that way, but you would want to try and distance yourself to protect not just yourself, but to protect her as well. Now, you can, oftentimes, if you don't make it public, it's probably not going to stop, right? So you got to try and approach it, and you got to try and make it public, whether that be, you know, with a church leader or with her parents or with whoever. But yeah, I recommend don't try and deal with it yourself. Don't try to, yes, don't try to, oftentimes problems occur between people because both people might have the best intentions. Both people might have the intentions to do right, to do the right thing. But when you do it privately, just between two people, especially between just man and woman, there will always be room for Satan to creep in some way or other, right? So you gotta always try and make it public.
Thank you, Brother Ken. Yeah, indeed, our purity is really the most important gift for, heavenly parents and true parents. So this is really something that, as brothers and sisters, when we are relating with each other, is oftentimes we will face situations like that. But it's very good advice that our Brother Ken has given to us. So thank you so much. Actually, we are really short on time, but there's this last question that I think many brothers and sisters have this concern, for our second gen. So I'd like to ask this final question and opening up to both Brother Ken and Sister Yie Sun. Maybe you can just share some short pointers with us. So this question is on caring for second gens who are unstable in their life of faith. So example, maybe some of them have less serious issues like struggling with Abel, and some with maybe more serious issues like having doubts in God, or like negative thoughts about our movement, or even those who left the movement already. So are there any things that you think we can do for them, or any programs or activities that we can help to organize to take care of these brothers and sisters?
Ken, you want to start?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, maybe to make it shorter and easier to understand. Basically, for second gens who are like struggling in their life of faith, how can we take care of them? How can we guide them back to our movement?
Okay, Yie Sun, you can start.
Okay. I think it's important to maintain a good artistic relationship with those second gen, because we cannot really push life of faith. We cannot push our ideology to them if they don't really trust us. But if we have that kind of artistic relationship with them, it's easier for them to listen to us. It's easy for them to have a conversation with us, because they think that they would have that mindset that this is a person who does not judge me, but just want to have like good conversation with me. So and it's not just one time big time. It's a process of putting them back, like pulling them back to the church. But one thing that you should be careful is like what Ken really said, that you should be careful of your purity. So those kind of second gens, they have a very strong belief about what they believe in. So for you, even though you have the heart of pulling them back, but you might be pulled by them about what they believe in. So you have to be careful about that, and you have to be firm about your life of faith, and you have to be strong, not to be carried away by that person's mindset. But you should also be, at the same time, be artistic to that person, not judging that person, but having that person understand why true parents is the Messiah, why heavenly parent is our parent, and build that connection, build that relationship with that person. So yeah, so that's what I can share.
Thank you, Sister Yie Sun. How about Brother Ken?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I don't really have much to add to that. She's pretty much nailed it on the head. Continue that relationship. Don't, especially if you're friends already, especially if you know each other already, don't cut them off. It's sad, but it's true. There are BCs who've left the church. Within my own BC group of friends, I have someone who has left the church. Personally, I haven't cut my relationship with him. Whenever I go to wherever he is, the country that he lives, because it's not in the same country, then I still think of him. And I still wonder how he's doing. I still try and contact him. And it, like Yie Sun mentioned, it's not something that you can fix in one go. And it is a relationship. You got to maintain it. You got to try and build it. You got to try and strengthen it even. But at the same time, you really have to be clear. You have to be clear on what your belief is. You have to be, like she mentioned, you have to be strong. Oftentimes, and this is exactly what I mentioned earlier, you might have the right intention, but sometimes you might be swept away. You might be the one who's influenced by them instead, and you might end up leaving the church. You might end up becoming more negative. You might, become, lose your faith. So unless you have a strong enough faith that you're quite sure that you won't, be shaken, that your faith won't be shaken, then I recommend you keep building that relationship and keep trying, right? But, and as sad as that might sound, but if you're uncertain, if you think you might waver, your faith might waver if you keep hanging out with this person, then I'm sorry, but it's in your best interest to try and maybe put that relationship on pause until you know what's happening in your life of faith. You don't necessarily have to cut the relationship off, but definitely put it on hold. Because if you're being influenced in a bad way in your life of faith, that's something that kind of bad influence is something you want to stop, right? It's what True Father says, you have to love the people, always love the people, but don't accept Satan, don't accept evil. You must not accept Satan, but you still must love the people, right? So, and that's a hard thing to do. It's really not easy to do it, to be able to love the person, but still separate good and evil. It's not easy to do. So if you're not certain that you can do it, then to be honest, I recommend it's better not to try, because it's not easy to do. So if you really do care for them that much and want them to come back to the church, then you really have to have a strong root. You really have to have your own strong life of faith that you won't be shaken. But if you do have that and you're confident, then yes, try and continue that relationship. Try and continue giving them that love. Try and continue building it and love them. And as somebody mentioned, show them a model life, a life that if they look at you and your family and they see the happiness and maybe financial wealth that you're building, they want the same thing. They'll come to you, they'll ask you for help, they'll want to be like you. Like that's ideally what we should strive for.
Thank you so much for your really principled as well as artistic answer. Both our brother Ken and sister Yie Sun. Thank you so much. Yes, so with that, we have come to the end of our question and answer session. And once again, let's put our hands together to thank our really amazing speakers, our brother Ken and sister Yie Sun. Thank you so much.
We really appreciate the time that our elder second-gen couples have invested in sharing their experience, giving us guidance and answering our question. I'm sure everyone here has truly learned a lot.
Yes, thank you so much. So now we would like to invite two participants, our sister Yongmin and brother Roger, representing all of our youths here, to share their reflection on today's web panel sharing. So first, let us welcome our sister Yongmin from Australia with a round of applause.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Youngmin from Australia. And yeah, I thought this session was, oh wait, should I start?
Yes, please start.
Okay. Yeah, I was really grateful for being able to attend this session. I didn't really know what to expect from it. I just knew Brother Ken, and we've heard lots of good stories from him. But even from him, I felt like I learned a lot of new things. Yeah, from beginning to end, I feel like, yeah, we were really able to get a lot of insight into a lot of the things that we were already wondering about. And I think we could see through the questions and through the stories, we all kind of have similar struggles, similar questions, similar thoughts. And we're all kind of in a similar time right now in our lives, in this young age as second generation, like the first ever second generation in the world. So yeah, and I want to say that I was really able to gain a lot of hope from, yeah, Sister Yie Sun and Brother Ken's couple and family. Yeah, they showed us that despite the many struggles and troubles and challenges in their own lives and that we might be going through, there's always hope. And yeah, we can really move forward with those strategies and practical tips that they gave us. So yeah, thank you so much. We love you guys.
Thank you so much, Sister Youngmin. And let us invite our brother Roger from Singapore to share his reflection.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So yeah, it was really amazing sharing from both Brother Ken and Sister Yie Sun. And I think everyone would agree that they are really like our elder brothers and sisters who can really they'll give us really amazing guidance, and we really learn a lot from them. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah, and one thing I find really amazing from them is that like they both have young kids, like barely 1 year old, not even 1 year old. And how their kids are not even in the video, I don't even understand. Because I myself have a 7-month-old son, and I struggle quite a lot actually whenever we have like Zoom meeting, and it's either me or my wife will be missing from the video. Yeah. So props to you both. Yeah, and I guess that brings me to my first point on like what our sensei Ken taught us, time management. To like, yeah, basically what I got from him is to really like zoom out on more of a macro scale and to, well, look at what you need to do, to prioritize certain things and all that. So I think that's my favorite takeaway, I would say, because yeah, I'm struggling in this also, like how to really prioritize my finance, family time, and then yeah, public mission and all that. And everything really revolves around my son. So like whenever I have some time to do maybe like public mission, suddenly my son needs me. And then it's, yeah, quite difficult. But the way Ken puts it is quite amazing. And it's honestly just all about time management, how you really do everything. Yeah. And then also back to because I believe we have many participants who are maybe preparing for blessing matching and all that. So yeah, it really reminds me of the times when I just started with Christine, like how we started our communication and all that. So it really is really putting in effort like both ways. Yeah, I think both Ken and Sister Yie Sun, both Ken and Sister Yie Sun already touched on this many times, like yeah, putting in effort, forgive each other, and really try your best to resolve any arguments before bedtime. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's my takeaway from today. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Roger, for your sharing. And also to our Sister Youngmin as well. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we wish to invite our two amazing speakers today, our Sister Yie Sun and Brother Ken, to wrap up today's program with their closing remarks. So first, we'll have ladies first. So let us warmly welcome our Sister Yie Sun.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much everyone for coming, for making time. I know it's really late for some, for our brothers and sisters in New Zealand and Australia. So thank you for being with us until this time, especially to Ken. I know it's not really easy to stay for like 4 hours straight here. I don't know how you manage to like stay there without, without running. But yeah, thank you. I think my parting words with everyone is something that I also told my friend in Cheongpyeong. He asked me when I was newly engaged to my spouse, he was asking me, what are the tips that you can give me to prepare for my matching? And I was like, well, number one, have a vertical relationship with God. That's number one, because you can't really receive the blessing without having good relationship with God. Another thing about vertical relationship is have a vertical relationship with your spouse. Always see your spouse from God's perspective. Don't look at your spouse through your eyes, but through God's eyes. That's what Dr. Yong gave guidance to me, and I never parted from that guidance before. I feel that that's really key in really accepting your spouse. See your spouse from God's perspective, and think that you are God's caretaker of your spouse. God gave you your spouse to take care of. So take care of your spouse how God would have wanted to take care of him or her. Second is have a good horizontal relationship with your spouse. But before that, know how to communicate properly. Communication is key in relationships. So it's very important for you how to communicate well. Start with the people around you, start with your family. How can you communicate well with other people, especially when you're angry? Don't make decisions when you're angry. And always decide when you're cool-headed. That's when you can have good conversations with your spouse, and you can, lessen arguments. And always make efforts for your spouse. It's important that you make time, make yourself good for your spouse, even though you're married already, even though, you're like full of baby liquid everywhere right there when you have a baby. But make time to go on dates, make time for your spouse, and have a good balance between vertical and horizontal relationship with your spouse, because he's your God's representative in your family, but at the same time, he is your husband and you are his wife, or vice versa. So you have to make that kind of relationship. So after the blessing, you are officially allowed to date. So go enjoy it. So go on date with the baby. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Yie Sun. Next, I would like to invite up Brother Kent for his closing remark.
Closing remark. Jeez. I had something I wanted to say, and I completely forgot. I knew exactly what I was to say, but I completely forgot now. Okay, so it's kind of in line with what Yie Sun's already said, but she mentioned you have to build your relationship with God first, right? Have that vertical relationship. And this is something I've mentioned many times here in Sydney, but really the shortcut for you to establish that strong relationship with God is through your parents. Your relationship with your parents is a vertical relationship. Your relationship with God is a vertical relationship. The direct connection between you and God, which can be hard to find, would be through your parents, right? And so it really comes back to the family. It starts in the family. Everything starts in the family. And your parents are always there. So if you want to build a strong relationship with God and through parents, then the shortcut for you to do that is to really build a strong, good relationship with your parents. Because when you go receive the blessing, guess what's going to be the most important? Your parents. If you want to succeed in the blessing, you need to have a strong relationship with your parents. If you don't have a strong relationship with your parents, it's going to be so much harder to make the blessing work. Believe me. You have a good and strong relationship with your parents, they will help you, they will guide you, they will love you, they will support you. Blessing is not something you should be doing on your own. You do it from someone who's had 30, 40 years of experience that they can share with you on your first step. Duh, obviously you want your parents to guide you. So yeah, if you want to, build that relationship with God, shortcut is through your parents, which is why, going back to what Samanim said in her opening remarks, we have to become filial children, because that's how we can build our relationship with our parents, by becoming filial children to our parents. And in the other breakout room, Samanim or whoever is talking there will be telling the parents, love your children, sacrifice for your children. So we have to love our parents. We have to sacrifice for our parents.
Aju, thank you so much to both of our speakers, our precious Sister Yie Sun and our precious brother Ken. Thank you so much. So I hope that everyone has really had great inspiration and also takeaway from today's web panel Testimonial Sharing 4.0.
And as a way to improve our future testimonial sharing, I would like everyone kindly to fill in the feedback form. Everyone can use like a QR code now on the screen, and also go to the link that sent to your email to get to the form. So we appreciate everyone's feedback.
So lastly, before we come to the end of our final web panel testimonial sharing of this year, I would like to ask all of us to show appreciation to our hardworking and amazing staff team, consisting of our organizers, our MCs, facilitators, technical support, and translators. So not everyone's face is in this photo, but all of our brothers and sisters have really worked so hard for each and every web panel testimonial sharing up until now. So their unity and Chongsong is amazing, isn't it? Yes. So let us show our appreciation with a warm round of applause for all of our staff.
Also, we would like to thank again all our participants all the way from the first web panel testimonial sharing until now for your support. Lastly, we would like to take a final group photo with everyone's bright face and end up this fruitful section. Let's turn on your video cam and show your happy smile to the camera. So when Brother Victor is ready, please give us the cue.
Okay, everyone. As Henry said, please put on your best smile. I know some of you are feeling sleepy, some are feeling hungry, some want to get that money, but let's put our smiles on first, okay? So this will take some time because there are like 171 people. So, but please put on your best smiles. Okay, so first page. So, can everybody say Abaji?
Abaji.
Okay, for a moment. Okay, for the next page, maybe put like Saranghayo.
Saranghayo.
Put a heart, Saranghayo. Okay. Okay, for the next page, maybe like what? A peace sign? Up to you guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Kimchi.
Okay. Okay, for a moment. Sorry. Okay, one more. What else, guys? I'm running out of ideas. Any suggestions?
Just Waki.
Waki? Okay, Waki.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the last one, I say Vision 2027, and then everybody say Singli, Singli, Singli. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, Vision 2027. Singli, Singli, Singli. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. This is our end for the web panel testimonial. See you all next year.
Yes,
So,
see everyone. Thank you for joining. Take care.
Please don't forget to answer the survey.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye bye.
Thank you, Ken.
Bye.
Ken, we need another session, Ken.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
See you all soon.
You guys are
I'm the
amazing.
original Uncle Roger.